Hello again everyone, hello and welcome back to Let's Play Broken Sword, the show of the Templars. Last time we tried to get in the sewer, we couldn't because oh hang on.
It was the glass the gendarme had left behind.
I never knew you could look at that.
There was no need to take the wine glass.
Right, let's...
If I wanted to get deeper into these catacombs, I was going to have to get onto that path. If the near edge hadn't crumbled away, I could have jumped it easily. Now, I wasn't so sure. Okay, it's long jump time. Here goes. Do I look crazy or something?
Yeah.
Okay, it's long jump time. Here goes. Do I look crazy or something? There were 3 arches, each with an inscription. Close up, I could see a faded inscription. My medieval French isn't much, but the few words I understood seemed to say, "This is where the gallows used to stand." Maybe. Close up, I could see a faded inscription. My medieval... Maybe. There were 3... That sounded pretty solid. There were 3 arches.
Yeah, alright, I know.
The wall seemed in very poor condition. The wall seemed in very poor condition. Hey, that's hollow. It was time for some brutal destruction.
Whoops.
There were 3 arches. The inscription was hard to read, but I made out Templier and something about innocence. I'd poked a hole in an historical site. If any archaeologists came by, they'd lynch me for this. Close up, I could see the plaster was thinner where I'd broken through, and behind it were some cogs and a lever. Here goes. Hey, cool! Inside the hole, I could see one of the cogs had come loose and jammed the mechanism solid. The secret door had jammed. I couldn't get through that gap.
Right. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to go over to this.
The hook lay in a bed of chain.
Right.
A weird little boat lay tied up. I guess they used it to get maintenance crews around. Either that or the Phantom of the Opera was somewhere near. On the boat was a winching machine. There was a handle in the boat that fed out chain with a hook on the end. A hook dangled from the end of a heavy-duty chain. The hook was held rigidly by the tightly wound chain.
Just quickly.
The door mechanism was trashed. It would take a blacksmith or an engineer to do anything with that. At the bottom of the steps, I could see a glow. It seemed a good moment to be cautious.
Right, whatever you do, okay, do not go down the steps. You want to look through this gap here.
There was a crack in the wall. Through it, I could see a glimmer of natural light.
In the beginning was the end.
An end wrought by our enemies began our darkness.
In the end will be a beginning.
An end to our enemies heralds our new day.
Report. The military establishments are in flux. The end of the Cold War has left them with no clear goal and as obvious targets for budgetary cuts. We have successfully promoted a sense of betrayal in the upper echelons. They feel that the politicians have cast them adrift. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Good. Mademoiselle?
Governments are giving the corporations more respect than their own citizens. A groundswell of dissatisfaction and dissidence is growing. The corporations are becoming too large and complex for their own executives to control them. A blind belief in market forces is accelerating this trend the world over. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
The global population's belief in those that govern it has never been lower. We have inculcated a sense of immediacy and action over forethought and planning in all the major governments. They are acting on hasty decisions that cannot be completed or revoked without appearing foolish. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Excellent. The tired old governments are dying a slow death from their own incompetence and our machinations. The millennium is almost upon us, and everything is in place for the rise of our new order. Almost. Professor, where is the broken sword?
As we discussed last time, with the loss of the manuscript, our search is as a corollary hindered.
And as discussed last time, you have been furnished with a dramatically increased budget. What have you been doing with our money, Professor?
We are working on the principle that the Templars, that is to say our predecessors,
Hold on. These are the Templars?
must have left a trail when they were hiding the clues to the sort of Baphomet's location. I have a small army of historians and archaeologists ferreting out that trail.
I trust these historians and archaeologists are more trustworthy than your friend Pegram.
Pegram was loyal. He tried to protect the Lochmarn gem when the Hashashin came near.
And failed. And don't call that Syrian maniac the Hashashin. He's an assassin. Plain and simple.
That's not what he believes. He actually thinks.
Silence! Do I have to remind you that we have a sacred duty? A trust. When Philippe attempted to destroy the Order, we lost the sword and our power with it. Now we have the opportunity to reforge it. But time is short. We need results, not petty bickering, not excuses. Now, Professor Baphomet.
Yes, of course. My apologies. We will find Baphomet and the sword, manuscript or no. We have already found another element actually within Paris.
Excellent. What is it?
Well, we're not exactly sure at present.
Ha!
But I have my best people working on it. You would do well not to criticize others, Eklund. At least I have not murdered one of our own.
Of course. That guy was the bogus doctor in the hospital.
Marquet was a liability. Eklund dealt with him on my orders.
I beg your pardon, Grandmaster. I did not mean to.
Have you any good news for us, Professor?
We already know 3 of the elements. We know that Klausner had obtained the lens before he vanished.
Where was he?
Syria. We know that he arrived, but after that, nothing.
The assassin.
I fear so. It's a shame. Klausner was a good operative.
Phew, right, just take a breather for a minute. So that's a lot to take in. That's why whenever you would watch this, I would always be... I would skip it because it was just so long.
This will be our last meeting in person until we locate the sword of Baphomet. I hope that I don't need to emphasize the importance of finding it. Without it, our endeavors come to nothing. With the sword reforged, we will have the power to sweep the stage of all opposition. The new millennium will belong to us. The next time that we meet, it will be to become the princes of this world!
Right. They're gone. Okay, so now you can go down the steps. You do get a chance when you do that to actually stop. I think about midway down.
On the circle's circumference were the Templar seal and 2 Latin phrases. Non omnis moriar and clarior e tenebris. I shall not die completely, the brighter from the darkness. No way was I going out there without a boat. The water seemed to belong to an underground river or something. It was way too deep to belong to the catacombs. In the middle of the circle was a stump of stone, a shaft of daylight from the world above lancing down to touch it. It was a simple but elegant tripod made of metal, with traces of colored enamel still visible in places. In the middle of the circle was a stump of stone, a shaft of daylight from the world above.
Right, let's paste them on there.
The light falling from above struck the gem and scattered in 5 neat rays, and each ray picked out a letter. Starting from the seal, I could read M-A-R-I-B, Marib. Now all I had to do was figure out what the heck that meant.
Back to Nico's apartment. Oh.
Nico, I've seen them.
Who?
The Templars. I spied on their meeting in the catacombs.
And you saw the Knights Templar?
I saw a bunch of guys masquerading as Templars. They're after something called the Sword of Baphomet. The bogus doctor was there, the guy who killed Marquet. The manuscript is the key, just as we thought. It shows the way to the broken sword, whatever that is.
And how does the assassin fit into all this?
He's out to stop them. These Neo-Templars, they're men and women in influential positions. Don't you see? Plantar was one of them. The assassin killed him for the manuscript, to stop them finding the sword.
But now we have got the manuscript.
Yes.
So, how do they hope to find the sword?
I don't know. They said something about a lens and a guy called Klausner who's gone to Syria. But they didn't seem to realize the significance of the very site of their meeting. You see, after they'd gone, I discovered a stone pedestal and a carved inscription. I set up the gem on the tripod, directly below a beam of light. The gem split the beam and lit the letters M-A-R-I-B.
Marib is a village in Syria.
Then the Neo-Templars are ahead of us. Klausner beat me to it.
You're not thinking of going there yourself, are you?
Why not?
These guys are crazy and dangerous. That reminds me, you should leave the gem here.
Okay, what about the tripod?
I'll send it back to André, anonymously. Oh, by the way, I had a visit from André Lobineau.
Oh yeah, I hope you didn't mind me giving him your address.
Not at all. It was lovely to see him again. He was over the moon when I showed him the manuscript. It's not often he gets that excited. He made a sketch of the Knights Crest to take back to the museum. I believe he's identified the family who bear that crest.
I sure hope so. What about the clown's second victim?
Yamada, the controversial Japanese green politician. He inherited his fortune from his father's electrochemical consortium. He was committed to dismantling Japan's automobile industry.
I can't see him gaining much support with a loony policy like that.
Yamada was a man of vision. He was years ahead of his time.
If you say so. How did he die?
At the hands, or should I say, flippers, of a giant emperor penguin.
Would you like this juggling ball?
Have you been drinking, Georges?
No, why?
Because you're talking crap.
Okay, guys.
Do you think I should go to Marib?
Syria is a long way, Georges.
Well, we've got a choice. We can go to Syria, or there's another place that we can unlock where we can go to. It's completely up to you where you go. It doesn't really make any difference to the story, but the one place is shorter than Marib. Marib's quite a long, lengthy bit. But I think I always seem to go to Syria first. Do I go to Syria? Yeah, I always seem to go to Syria first to get that out of the way. This time, however, I'm going to go and unlock the other one. And to do that, we're going to need to go and talk to Andre. So I'm going to continue the video for a little bit longer. Because I want this next bit to be a completely fresh video. And hopefully I can get it done in one video. Actually, no, probably two. Not one. Two. I'd say two.
Hi, Andre.
Hello, Georgie. Hey, I visited Nicole's apartment.
Yeah, she told me you came by.
Ooh, quite a fine Georgie boy. I didn't expect anything quite so sexy.
I hope you're referring to the manuscript.
Oui, of course.
You better be, Andre.
What does this ball mean to you?
It's a juggling ball. I love juggling.
I should have guessed. Aren't you just the tiniest bit embarrassed about your love of juggling?
No. Why should I be?
Aren't you just the tiniest bit
No.
What did you make of the manuscript?
It dates from the time of the Crusades.
We guessed that from the Templar seal.
It's a story and pictures like a modern-day comic book.
What story does the manuscript tell?
I don't know. It was probably produced for the tourist market.
Tourists?
Oh, oui, pilgrims in their thousands on their way to Jerusalem. The tourist trade is nothing new, you know. It's been around for centuries. Ever since Joshua made a packet selling souvenir bricks from the walls of Jericho.
Have you deciphered any of the images on the manuscript?
There's very little I can be sure about. The slang of the bull could be a reference to Mithras.
Who's he?
A Persian god, almost as popular as Christ at one time. The only thing I can be sure of is the knight. He's Spanish.
How can you tell that?
The writing on the shield, the reference to Ave Maria. No self-respecting knight from Northern Europe would have borne a coat of arms like that.
Can you identify the knight's coat of arms?
I already did, Georgie. He's a member of the De Vasconcelos family from the Costa Calida.
Were they famous?
No, they're not mentioned after the 15th century.
Oh.
The spotlight of history moved on. They're probably long dead.
Do you think the manuscript could be the map to the Templar treasure?
Frankly, no. That's too far-fetched. The manuscript is interesting enough and a rare find, but that's all.
Wouldn't it be terrific if it was a map, though? The treasure of the Knights Templar.
A romantic notion, Georgie, but extremely improbable.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
Right, let's go back to Nico. In fact, we're going to go to Montfaucon first. I want to double check something. Now, you do this later in the game, and people who are veterans of this game will know exactly what I mean. Is there something in Montfaucon that you need to look at in order to... because you now have two places unlocked. You have Marib, or you have the Spain location. Oh, where you go is completely up to you.
An ornate fountain stood in one corner of the square. I'd have to come by here in the summer to see it working.
That I can't do this bit yet. I just realised.
Biblical references engraved into the tomb edge to guide his way to the next world. I guess. A knight there in the company of his fellows.
Okay, guys, right. Time to go back to Nico. Because you don't need to do that bit yet. I thought you might be able to do something with it, but you can't.
At the top of the stairs was a medieval church. Hey, Nico.
Oh, hi. Come in.
The guy at the museum identified the Knights Crest.
That's great news. I knew Lobino would be likely to help. Tell me more.
It belongs to a Spanish family.
With Templar connections, no doubt.
That's one of the questions I want to ask them. If the family still exists. Just how long have you known Lobino?
Andre? We met at college. He helped me out when I was a fresh air. Showed me around, that sort of thing.
You never told me that before. I thought he was just a working acquaintance.
So he is. I rarely see him these days. You know, he hasn't changed much. A little lesser at the front, perhaps. I'd forgotten how much fun he could be.
Is there something going on between you and Lobino?
What business is it of yours? We agreed all this. The clown, the Templars, strictly business, remember?
Yeah, but...
So get off my case.
Alright. Steady on, Nico.
Do you think I should go to Marib?
Syria's a long way, Georges.
Okay, right. I'm going to go to the map because last time I got very confused with the fact I didn't save it. I thought I'd actually saved it, and when I started the recording tonight, I was like, oh great, I've done it. But no, I hadn't. I've been an idiot. So we're going to save the game. And I thank you all very, very much for watching. And I'll see you next time, guys. Ta-ta for now.